Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, receive the emptiness of all five skandhas, and deliver all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any elusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Profane now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Prajna, paramita, Hridaya Sutra.
has been raised. Tansai asked the monk, "Where have you come from?" The monk said, "From down the mountain." His Sai said, "Have you eaten yet or not?" The monk said, "I have eaten." His Sai said, "Did the person who brought you the food to eat have eyes or not?" The monk was speechless. Chang Ching asked Pao Fo to give some food to eat is ample requital of the debt of kindness. Why wouldn't he have eyes? Fu said, "Giver and receiver are both blind." Chang Ching said, "If they exhausted their activity, would they still turn out blind?" Fu said, "Can you say that I am blind?" There's also a commentary on this koan, which I will have read.
Fine as rice powder, cold as icy frost. It blocks off heaven and earth and goes beyond light and dark. Observe it where it's low and there's extra. Level it off where it's high and there's not enough. Holding fast and letting go are both here. But is there a way to appear or not? To test, I'm citing this old case. Look.
This Shipe is the teaching staff of Buddhas and ancestors. Carry it well.
It is an honor and a privilege to carry this staff. This is the Dharma staff, 5 feet long, once a black snake on Vulture Peak. It became the Udambara flower at Shaolin Temple. It burst forth, the 5 petals of Zen. Sometimes it is a dragon swallowing heaven and earth, sometimes a Vajra sword, giving and taking life. This staff is now in my hands. Though just a mosquito biting at an iron bull, I cannot give it away. Dragons, elephants, let us call forth the Dharma. Give me your questions.
Now we will begin the questioning period. And I just wanted to give a couple of instructions for everyone. The question and answer period is a formal event. The format is as follows. If you have a question, you would first address Shin as Shuso-san. Then ask the question. Shin will reply, Chincho. Shin will reply. Then one would say, Chincho, thank you for your answer. To give some brief context, Shin is the Shuso, so you would address them as Shuso-san. And when they give the answer and your reply is Chincho, thank you for the answer. Chincho is the word for a calm person. It means one who doesn't sweat, or one who has calm sweat, or no sweat. Okay, so again, Shuso-san, ask your question, receive the answer, Chincho, thank you for your answer. At that point, the Shuso, son Shin, will say to you, Banzai, may your life go well. Banzai is an honorific reserved generally or traditionally for the emperor. And so it's a great honor. I will begin with the... I would say this also. The case, the pointer that have been read are all in the back of the chant books. And so if you all haven't found them back there, you can go back there and follow along. An understanding of the case, right, may take quite some time. And so that don't feel that you have to understand it to be able to ask a question. You can ask a question. And then I would say that if you don't have a question about the case, but you have a question in general about the Dharma, that's also okay. Yes, thank you. Shuso-san, having read the case and gained an understanding of it, were I to ask you, did the person who brought you the food to eat have eyes or not? What would be your reply?
I often think of my grandmother when I read this. And it's hidden because I didn't want Suji to yell at me for breaking the dress code. But I have a kachina, which was given to me by my grandmother before she died. The kachina represents this particular one, the corn goddess, abundance, all the food that we get at the end of the harvest season. I think of both my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandmother, who serendipitously their birthday is one day away from when I will receive my robes. If there's anybody that taught me to give with eyes closed, it was my grandmother and my grandfather. It's not a giving to receive something back. It's not a giving to store up some sort of karma merit at some other place. I think it truly is a giving without eyes. So I would hope that the person feeding me does it without eyes, because that's what I have been given from a gift from my grandmother.
Chincho, thank you for your answer.
Banzai, may your life go well.
All right, we have a couple of other questions from teachers here at the temple that we'll read now, while you all are thinking of your questions.
Shuso-san, a question from Igesu. When no self is there, who needs the applause?
I know I'm kind of addressing you, Changosu. One of my favorite lines in the sutra that I gave you to study is, where inverted thinking stops, the enlightened mind naturally arises. I'd like to think that when we hit that sort of non-self, we don't find nothing, but we find that sort of collected everythingness. So I'd like to think where there's non-self, we all clap together.
Chincho, thank you for your answer.
Banzai, may your life go well.
Shuso-san, is snow being referenced in the pointer? Holding fast, it melts, and we let go of it. It's not as it appears or what we name it. Just like in the Heart Sutra, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind are empty of an inherent suchness.
Again, one of my other favorite lines from the sutra I gave you was the very beginning, if you remember. Like a silver bowl filled with snow, a heron hidden in the moon. Also, because I'm a Taurus and I love to eat, and that's why I picked this koan, I always read the pointer as describing measuring out rice. I think we know when we've arrived as a community when our rice is low and it said plenty is there, right? We find more. And when your rice is overflowing, you find it's not enough. And I hope that this can be our nature of giving. When our rice is low, look around you. And when you have an overflowing rice, you know where to take it. That's where I'm at.
Chincho, thank you for your answer.
Banzai, may your life go well.
And I'm one of those people that can't remember how to address you either. But the first thing that caught me was the attention to the eyes. And I think in our lives, we pay a lot of attention to eyes. You know, are they the windows to the soul? Blah, blah, blah. How long are your eyelashes? Blah, blah, blah. But what do you personally, what's your top when you think of eyes to you?
My mind immediately went to what I do for my day job. I work with many kids, mostly with autism, and eye contact's a really hard thing to learn. Some people never can grasp it. There is the whole idea of eyes being the window to the soul. It's how you literally tell somebody, I'm talking to you. But just as a blind giver gives, how do you see somebody when you can't see their eyes? And one lesson you'll learn very quickly is that how completely deep and fulfilling somebody's life can be with no eyes. A lot of times people look right to you and they're not there with you. So be wary. I guess maybe trust the blind person. Banzai, may your life go well.
All right, 72-year-old mind. So Shin, I assume you've been working with this for quite a while. Is there a particular understanding you had early on that significantly changed?
Yes. Well, first, like I said in my first answer, I thought very deeply of my grandmother. But as I channeled my Dharma sibling, Shin Q, I thought, well, I better nerd out on this and get some history behind this. So I read about Taisei. And it brought me to this idea of duality. Just like what's brought up, for instance, in the Jeweled Mirror Samadhi. His entire story began with that. It said that he was on his way to become a Confucian sort of delegate back in China, Middle Ages, which would be basically a government position. And it said the night before he had some sort of event. It's often described as like a big washing of light or some sort of spark. And he was telling his friend, and his friend said, "You can't go become a government official because we would waste this opportunity to receive enlightenment." He said, "You need to go to the temple instead." And so that was the beginning of his journey. Famously, he received his name when he went to go meet the abbot. And in waiting for the abbot, he saw a big statue of Manjushri. And if you ever remember me talking about Manjushri, it's this big bodhisattva of wisdom. And their big defining factor is they're holding up a big giant saber, a sword, above their head. Taisei climbed up on top of the statue, a foot around each side of his neck. And when the abbot walked in, he quickly jumped down. And the abbot said, "I've never seen somebody act so naturally," which is the meaning of Taisei's name, is one who acts naturally. The sword is supposed to represent the cutting through of Dharma, getting to the point. Manjushri is the bodhisattva of that sort of natural, innate wisdom, the wisdom of a child, the wisdom of somebody who doesn't necessarily have to study for a long time to get that. When I first heard that story, I thought, oh wow, here's a kind of an out there character climbing up on the statues. But then I thought, can you climb carelessly on top of a statue wielding a sword? And can you jump off of it without a scratch? I also think that he wasn't given his name until he had landed. I think so often we are straddling the neck of Manjushri. We have so many really large things that we have in our life that we need to come to some decision on. And we're trying to dodge that sword without getting cut. And I think it's not until we jump off and we land either on the right side or the left side and we just do it. That's when that natural mind comes.
Thank you.
Banzai, may your life go up.
Forgive me if I mispronounce. Suso-san. My mother passed away today in 2021. And so it is a soulful day for me today. It is a sad day, but Buddhism says to let go. I try to practice gratefulness now, less sadness and more gratefulness. But my question to you is, how do we let go?
I think sometimes letting go is not a negation. We often think let go means to just, well, like throwing sand in the river, it's gone. Sometimes letting go is to let grow. I told you I'd bring my grandmother and my grandfather with me here, who are both passed away. I think a big part of honoring them is to let them be who they were and seeing who they are in me, in my actions, because a big part of what I am doing in this week and the next week is writing down my lineage, starting with Shakyamuni Buddha, all the way through Taisei, through my teacher Suji, most of which have passed away, and all of which I hope to bring life again in my own actions. When I speak to you, I'm not speaking to you as Son Shin, I'm speaking to you with all my ancestors. And I'm speaking to you with my grandmother. I don't know if that's a letting go, but I think it's untethering and letting their spirit, whatever it may be, to live freely in my words and in my actions. And I don't know another way to honor them than that.
Thank you very much.
Bansai, may your life go well.
I'm going to totally butcher this. Sun Shin Su? No, that's not right. Good morning. I'm really grateful to be here. So I have a three-part question. You spoke of merit. Let me see if I can remember this one. From where are merits born? To whom are merits given? And can you give your merits away blindly?
Well, I'll answer the last question first. I think all merits are given away blindly unless you give them away with intention. There's the sort of idea that if you don't take care of your problems, it become other people's problems. And I think there's a funny thing about karma and merit. Maybe they're the same thing. I don't know. Seeds that we scatter, right? What does it mean to throw seeds down without intention? I'd like to think that the more important question is the cultivation, not just the giving. And I think that's really the heart of all merit. Where are you cultivating? It's not just a gift that you can let go of and go. And I think the merit is built on that cultivation. My partner and I spent some time yesterday weeding, getting ready for a garden. And I'm pretty sure we could just throw some seeds down and call it a day, but I don't know if that's really what makes a garden. It's all the pulling of the weeds, the getting dirty, purchasing the plants, putting them in the ground, caring for them. I think that's where the merit comes from. Banzai, may your life go well. Yes. Shuso-san.
Shuso-san. We talk a lot here about truth. And I wanted to ask you because I feel like any time in my life when I feel like I've reached a point of understanding anything better, when I feel like I've reached a moment of truth, then things unravel and I realize how much I still don't know. So I wanted to ask if you feel like enlightenment is a point that is reached, that you will reach at some point in your life, or if it's an ever unfolding process.
I think the best thing that you can do for yourself on your path is to flush your enlightenment dreams down the toilet. You talk about truth, and I think I've said this before, I don't operate with truth. I think taking a much more pragmatic way has helped me in my life. I talked earlier about Manjushri, the bodhisattva of innate wisdom. I call upon their name when I need wisdom. Does it matter if they're real or not? Not really. What matters is if the act of calling their name brings wisdom up in myself. And I'd like to think that if we found with a lot of shadow of a doubt that they never existed, they're just a narrative creation of my ancestors, that wouldn't change a thing. And if they were to open up the ceiling and descend upon us right now, I would hope that my practice would not change one bit. As far as enlightenment, well, I'll talk about my own sort of lineage in Dogen and the idea that practice itself is enlightenment. It's something that we create. It's a function between two things. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. I think a better question would be, am I acting with enlightenment? And have I gotten it?
Chincho, thank you.
Banzai, may your life go well.
Sun True Sun. The koan asks, where do you come from? How would you answer that?
Well, I love the idea of from down from the mountain. I guess it implies a really long journey, a perilous one. Also, I think the most important part about that line is if you have the desire to fall down, the best way to do it is to walk down a mountain looking backwards. Which I think is kind of lost in this poem sometimes. You know, it's definitely a journey moving forward. So where have I come from? I'm moving forward. But also I move with my entire lineage with me. Just as the question answered before, I hope that I, have been everywhere that my grandmother has been, and I've been everywhere that my grandfather has been.
Thank you for your answer.
Benzai, may your life go well.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who doesn't remember how to address you. Gosh, this really resonated with me, this case. I am my mother's daughter. She has devoted her life to feeding other people, and she has taught me to devote my life to feeding other people. And so it's natural to me, like more natural than breathing to me. But like my mother, I also have a hard time accepting food from others, let's say. I'd like to think I can feed myself and that I don't need anybody else to feed me. But I do, and I know I kind of do. How do I accept letting other people feed me when I've devoted my life to feeding others?
I see that there's some people from my work here. We're grateful to see them here. When we get somebody new in and they're not having it, they're not taking anything we're giving them, the first thing I tell anybody is, well, do it yourself. If we're learning how to use our words, use your words. If we're learning how to use a spoon around them. Caring for yourself isn't about yourself. It's another way, it's another gift that you can give. Because there's somebody else right next to you that's just like you, that doesn't know how to receive a gift. And when you receive a gift openly, that is a gift to somebody else, saying that this is okay. This is okay to take this. And for somebody who's hesitant to eat from your bowl of beans on the pot on the stove, if you're the first one, everybody's had this where food's ready and it just sits there and everybody's sitting there awkwardly like, well, I don't want to be the first one. And then what happens? That one person comes in, takes a bowl, and then all of a sudden the line forms. That's a gift to everybody else. Sometimes taking the first bowl is the most important thing because all the other ones remain empty.
Thank you.
Benzai, may your life go well.
Is it Shinso-san?
Shizo-san.
Shisho-san.
Yes.
Thank you. I find I have much negativity in my heart, and it greatly burdens me. And I was just wondering, what do we do with our wrong thoughts?
You have to sit with them. How many years did it take you to form these thoughts? How long have they been with you? I'm sure they've kind of become your default, right? It takes a really, really long time. I often think of picture I once saw of a stone stairway that was thousands of years old, and you could see where the footprints laid down. And I think our own behavior gets that way sometimes, where sort of naturally our feet click right into the grooves that we've built for each other. And it takes a lot of intention. Intention to build new grooves. I think the easiest thing is find something that you can do when it happens that just clicks you out of it. What's something completely incompatible with those thoughts, right? Maybe whenever you're finding your mind go there, okay, quick, I gotta find 5 things that I'm grateful for. It helped to start to wear away those grooves. But as far as time, how long does it take to build new grooves in your staircase, right? But with persistence and practice, eventually those new grooves will be even deeper than the ones that are there. And it'll become natural again.
Chincho, thank you.
Banzai. I hope your life goes well.
Shusho-san, I have a quick comment. I think "Eyes Without a Face" by Billy Idol. But I actually have a question about the Dharma that is I'm thinking about for a long time. So hopefully it doesn't come out of left field. If everything is impermanent, does that make Buddha nature impermanent?
I like to think, for me at least, the world is made up of functional, contextual interactions. What makes a chair? You sit on it. And when you get up, is it a chair? Well, not if you're standing on it to screw in a light bulb. I like to think that that's the impermanence. It's impermanent because it arises through our actions, right? And then as quickly as it comes, it goes away. Where did the chair go when you're not sitting on it?
Shin-chan, thank you for your answer.
Banzai, may your life go well.
Shuso-san, how do we recognize and celebrate the beauty of the particular, of the unique in ourselves and others in the world, while at the same time not reinforcing the delusion of our separateness and our impermanence, or the delusion of our separateness and our permanence, and encouraging ourselves to cling?
Sometimes I think even the act of celebration is a bit of a rebellion against separation. Oftentimes we're celebrating because there's been some great act that has benefited us that's not through us. So I don't know. I'll think about that.
Chucho, thank you for your answer.
Banzai, may your life go well.
Shuso-san, a question from Reverend Kunganima. How can emptiness help me in my everyday life?
Well, if you see emptiness, the falling away and the rising, the sort of contextual nature of two things like I brought up before, I think it makes everything special. Every moment is a creation. I also think the most important part about emptiness is in our interactions with each other. It's being able to come face to face with somebody without the burden of the entire history of your guys' relationship, and without the burden of the expectations. It does not happen very often, but when you can come face to face with somebody and just be there, I think that's one of the most important parts is that. And when you can learn to be there just with a person, maybe a little bit harder is just to be there with yourself. If you want to talk about how to relieve suffering, imagine just being able to sit with yourself without everything that led up to it and without all the expectations that move forward. That's peace. And if you can find that in serving up a bowl of beans, then I think you can have a chance to find it everywhere else too.
Chincho, thank you for your answer.
Benzai, may your life go up.
Shoshu-shan. Lately, I find myself experiencing a lot of anger towards others who create harm and are hurtful and strongly have disagreements from my own beliefs. How does one find compassion for these people?
One of my favorite people in all Buddhism is Guanyin, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. And their mantra, which is a very famous one, is Om Mani Padme Hum, which roughly translates to look at the lotus blooming jewels from the mud. Behold the jewel in the lotus. Then there's this idea that the lotus flower blooms from the most disgusting, muddy, rotten swamps. But yet when it comes through, the leaves are completely clean. So it's kind of has this idea of purity in Buddhism. So I would say twofold. One, know that there is potential for beauty in everybody, even if it's not consistent. Another thing that's really helped me, and I think my day job has really helped me to realize this, is people are angry and mad, and they punch you in the face, and they bite you. I once had a child walk up to me, and it was very early in the morning, and they took their hand that was covered in boogers, and they dipped it in my coffee. But most of the time it boils down to these are the tools that they have. This is what's worked for them. And not everybody has the way to express themselves fully yet. Just as I said before, their grooves are set. It's very hard to step out of them. So when somebody does this, don't say, why are they such a mean person? But think, this is what they have right now. This is how they're finding their safety. This is how they're communicating their frustrations. And it also gives you a way to move forward, because then you can say, maybe it's my job to help them find the words.
Thank you, Chu-Chang.
Banzai, may your life go well.
Okay, at this time, I think we have one last. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Shin So-san. One of the most profound aspects of my practice has been encouraging myself to feel the interconnectedness of all beings. And while I find that very encouraging and enlightening and important for daily life, I also feel myself experiencing heightened suffering when I know that all beings are suffering so much. So I'm just wondering how you balance the feeling of interconnectedness without being bogged down by so much suffering in the world.
It took a lot of work. Not only in my work here as a teaching monk at the temple, but even working with the special needs population. I know this was a huge battle for me my first few years. The sort of empathetic burnout. I often would go into families who would be going through the worst times of their life, broken windows, holes in the wall. They don't feel safe in their own homes. They're just completely defeated. Been in homes with families that have just gone through the worst things you can possibly go through, whether that's suicide attempts, or deaths, or losses, having to call the police on your own child. There's a suicide ward for kids in Grand Rapids, just to enlighten everybody here. It's really hard. One of my, I've got a necklace for this. I've got Avalokitesvara here. And this is my favorite image of them, with the thousands of arms and the heads. The story of Avalokitesvara is they were just a practitioner, a monk, and pretty foolishly they're like, you know what? I'm going to withhold my own enlightenment, and I'm going to make sure that everybody in the world suffering is gone. And if I can't do it, then God damn it, maybe I explode. And guess what? They didn't do it. And because this is a Buddhist story, their head exploded. And it's said that Amitabha Buddha picked up all the pieces, and out of the pieces, they put them together as 100 heads stacked on top of each other with thousands of eyes and ears, so that finally they could see all the suffering of the world, hear all the suffering, and speak to all the suffering. But of course then, they said, I'm seeing all the suffering, I'm hearing all the suffering, I'm trying to speak to it, but I only have 2 arms and I can't help. And so their arms explode. And just as before, Amitabha Buddha picked up the pieces, and out of the pieces of the arm, they grew an entire array, thousands of arms, each holding different tools, so that they could reach out and help the suffering of the world. I think I've said this before, but sometimes it's that explosion, that defeat, knowing that you can only do so much. And I think it's out of that we gain our 1,000 arms. And it's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not hear a whole lot. It's also okay to realize that you're also a person too that needs to be heard and helped. And so just as taking the first bowl of soup helps everybody else, I think too, helping yourself is also a gift of compassion. Because even the smallest thing, even just making sure that you slept last night, and that you ate food, and that you take a couple big breaths and you're feeling overwhelmed, is not just a gift to yourself. It's a gift to everybody else around you. It's a gift to B. Because if B can see you taking that time, then they're going to say, oh, this is okay.
Thank you for your answer.
Benzai, may your life go well.
Okay, I think we have one more question from Reverend Shin online.
Okay, we actually have 3 questions from him, but they all say about the same thing, if you can follow along. A question for Shin from his Dharma brother Shinkyu. I think personally that this is the most important question relating to this koan. Is it possible for someone to give out rice without also being blind? Is it possible for someone who has an eye to also be blind? And if so, must he necessarily be blind in order to have the eye? I can repeat them if needed.
Maybe my head will explode without You know, my grandmother no longer has eyes, but they've definitely helped me see. I don't know if you can give rice without eyes. Ironically, this also touches on another writing by Dogen, the instructions for cooks and temples. And they talk about when you're cooking food, rice specifically, we need to treat every grain of rice as if it was our own eyeball. So I will ask you, what's the difference between a grain of rice and your eyeball? I think we should probably offer the same care for both. Forget the middle question. What was the middle question?
The second question was, is it possible for someone who has an eye to also be blind?
I think we all know an answer to that. I think so often we get our tools before we learn how to use them. That's my answer. Banzai, may your life go well. Through the support of my teacher, Suji, and everybody here, whether you're part of the temple or part of my life in another aspect, I have been made Shusho a teacher because of you all. And I'm deeply grateful for the help you have all given me. But I've not been worthy of it. Please forgive me if I've ever made a mistake. I'm sure they could fill the heavens and earth, leaving me no place to hide. Friends, if anything that I have ever done or any words that I have ever spoken have misled you, please wash out your ears in the pure sound of the mountain streams. And please continue your practice despite me. I'm quite humbled, but I will keep on trying. I will practice even harder. Thank you very much. Suji, the water returns to its source.
Well done, my friend. Well done. At this point, anyone can give their congratulations to Shuso-san. I see there are cookies downstairs. I'm sure you can ask any additional questions and make any comments to him over tea. But if someone would like a congratulatory comment now, feel free. May the merit of this penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together may realize a Buddha way. All Buddhas, 10 directions, 3 worlds, all honored ones, bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, maha prajna paramita.
Thank you all for coming. Today's service was a little different than what we're used to. Next week's will also be a little different than what we're used to. Next service, I will be receiving my new robes. Also, my new vows as a fully transmitted Dharma